Good. What a shame. It might actually work better if I sit like this. Yes, yes, people, what is going down? Welcome back to another stream. Um, so today I thought I'd start up a stream. One, because mainly I'm just a little bit bored. Two, I just feel like rambling and talking. And three, I kind of want to tell this story again for those like newer subscribers and stuff like that. So this is the story of what got me into music. Now, when I say what got me into music, I pardon. Um, I primarily mean like me sort of like becoming an MC, me becoming a DJ. I mean, I've always liked music. I've always been into music. I've always enjoyed listening to music. So, I do I do sort of state and mean this video as in when I like became an artist myself, if that makes sense. But like I say, I've had musically a beat. Yeah. Right, I'm going fully off and getting my words muddled up. Right, let's just pretend that never happened and let's just start a take two. So this stream is based on what got me into music. Now, what I mean by what got me into music, I mean what got me into like becoming a musician, like an MC and a DJ. That's the story that we're going for in today's stream. But I have been a lover of music for many years as a kid, even before I decided to become an artist myself. So I guess music for me, my interest in listening to music would have started before I was born. My mum, she has told me stories about when she was pregnant with me, how I would actually like kick and move around inside of her belly to certain songs that she would be playing. When I was born, sometimes the only way to get me to go to sleep would be to take a drive out in a car late at night and put rave music on. So, I'm not your normal average kid that'll just go to bed after a bedtime story and a little tuck in and a good night. I had to oh god, I had to be taken on a drive, have rave music blasted in the car, CDs on. As I was growing up as a kid, my mum and dad were heavily into music. They went to a lot of nightclubs, a lot of raves, if you like, mainly like house music and classic house. But they, they went to a lot of classic house, hard house, trance nights, gate crashers. Seen people like Tiesto, Judge Jules, loads of classic house DJs. They've seen Living Joy live, and probably many others, including K Class and all of them. So when they would go to these nights, they'd get rave CDs, from the nights, and obviously back then in the yes, what you saying, bro? Yeah, so back in them days, CDs that they were quite popular, weren't they? We didn't have all these downloading sites, which don't get me wrong, I don't mind MP3s, but there's definitely no feel like the old like vinyl records and CDs. And believe you and me, I still go out there and buy vinyl when I can, because I just like the physical feel of holding your copy of music. So as I was growing up, CDs were a big influence in my life. My mum and dad, they were into music, so a lot of the time there would be music on. If my mum was cleaning, the radio would be on. And even back then, the R&B and the chart music back in them days compared to now, before we got all this mumbled rap. Even the chart music was a lot better back then, and we had some decent R&B tunes back then. And I'm not a really big lover of R&B, but back then there was songs, you know, that I would tolerate, and I'd go, you know what, it's actually not a bad song. Whereas nowadays, you know, with all this mumbled rap, it's just a load of shit. So anyway, I think I'd get to about the age of 13, 14, maybe nearly going on 15, 16. And I discovered a program called Virtual DJ on computer. And literally, it's just, you know, everyone knows it now. It's a software that you can connect and plug controllers up to. And it's just like a PC software for, sorry, for playing and mixing music. So I found this program. Back then it was, you know, everything was free. There was no like pay a license to connect your controller to it. So I got into the software, and I was like to, you know, I was getting quite into it, and I was like to my dad, you know what, I'd actually like to have a go at DJing. Now, prior to this, probably around about 2010 time, my mum's ex-stepdad, who's sadly no longer alive, he had a pair of Technic vinyl decks, and there was times where I used to enjoy like having a play on them. Now I wasn't really mixing, but I would just like play a record and then put a record on the other side and play that. So I wouldn't really say I was mixing them in, but I did actually quite enjoy playing the vinyl decks and playing the records. And I used to just enjoy looking at all the sleeves and pulling a record out. And that was just me having a bit of fun, really. But back then, there was no, you know, I didn't know back then that I wanted to be a DJ. I just literally enjoyed putting the record on the turntable. So it would be late 2013. And I had been telling my dad that I was getting into DJing a little bit. And my dad actually knew someone who he was friendly with, who actually was a DJ. So we went round to his house, and you know, we asked him, and we said, look, my son's sort of thinking about getting into DJing, giving it a little bit of a go, little hobby kind of thing. What controllers would you recommend? So he just had a little bit of a sort of like talk to us, and he just, you know, he showed us what controller he had, and said that, you know, you know, the sort of one down from the one he had would be good for me, and it would be, you know, it's sort of like the same as the one he's got, but it's like got less features. And because I was obviously just getting into it, some of them features that the newer one has, I wouldn't be using the features because I was new to it. So we had a talk to him, and after some thought, my dad decided that, hey, you know, this is the pair of decks that we're gonna go for. So I went for them. I got decks, I got speakers, I even got an amp as well. So there was actually quite a lot of money spent on the setup, and there was me, little Ash Noble, 15, 16. I think I'd just turned 16. I'd got a moped at 16, and I think I got the decks for Christmas. I'm not a spoiled kid, I promise. So anyway, it got to Christmas. There's little me buzzed all these decks, thinking I'm going to be the next big DJ. And that was literally my thoughts back then. I was thinking, you know, I'm going to absolutely rock these decks, and really I didn't have a clue with what I was doing. So I set up a Facebook page, and I started trying to push myself as a little bit of, you know, as a small DJ. And, you know, at the time I was absolutely buzzing, but I was just having the piss taken out of me. And it got to the point where I actually grew about 100 likes, I think, on the Facebook page that I'd set up. And literally after then, I got offered the chance of a booking. It was to play at a friend's birthday party. And I remember this very well because it ended drastically wrong, and it was one of the worst days of my life. And I still hate the person to this day for what they did. So basically, a friend was having a birthday party, and you know, we'd been friends for quite a while, so she knew me, and she said, would I do the music for the party? So little Buzz me is like, yeah, it's like a first booking for me. I didn't obviously charge you because I was a friend, and I just wanted the experience of actually taking my equipment somewhere, and I guess playing out, if you like. And to cut the story short, at the time, I was running my controller through like an actual PC, not a laptop, and taking a laptop to that sort of party environment wouldn't have been the best thing, and it would have actually have been, just a bit more of an hinder, and it would have took a, more setting up as well, plugging all the, the tower in, and the monitor screen, and everything about it. Whereas a laptop, you just plug your charger in, and you turn the laptop on, and you're good to go. So my nan at the time, she was thinking about getting a laptop for herself, just to try and sort of learn how to use one. She's never really been too much involved with internet, and sort of like, how internet and things work, and she just thought, what, I actually wouldn't mind having a go and giving the internet a try, and just sort of trying to learn. So I mentioned about this booking, said that, ideally I need a laptop for it. So she decided that she was going to skint herself, get the laptop early, and this was another reason why I still sort of hate the woman to this day for what she did. Although I'm civil with her, I'll always remember what she did. So basically, we got this laptop early. It cost a fair amount of money, and we got a friend of mine to put all the software on it for me, because back then I didn't have a clue what I was doing. I was coming home from school on a night. I was getting all my tunes ready. I was all buzzed for this gig, and cutting the story short, it got to the Friday. I was gigging on the Friday, and I hadn't heard anything. I'd heard no word whatsoever, and obviously, you go to a gig like that. Obviously, you go around early, and you get set up before the party starts. So when people come in, you're there ready, and you've got the music playing. So obviously, I'm not hearing anything. Gets to about tea time. Obviously, I've been at school as well, so it was like an after school thing. So I come home after school, and I'm sort of like waiting to sort of go around and set up. As the party's like, it was starting, I think, round 8 o'clock or something. So I was obviously going to go around about sort of 5, 6. So I was ready to set up, and we were ready to roll for 8. And I hadn't heard anything. It got to the point where I actually text her, and I said, listen, look, do you still want me to come and do this music? I'm all set up, I'm all ready. And she just literally replied back and said, sorry, I've got another DJ. We don't need you no more. And, at the time I was out, I'd only just recently got my equipment. I'd not had them that long. And I was just literally so gutted. It was like such a setback for me, because although I had people taking the mickey out of me, I thought, what, I've been asked to do this party. I'm gaining likes on the social, so I must be doing something right. So it was a bit of a setback, because I thought I was doing well. Kind of made me feel like everybody was taking the Michael out of me. So literally, another friend of mine after that said, well, listen, look, don't worry about that. I'm having a party in a couple of weeks. I'm having a little get together at mine. So bring your decks to that and do the music. So it sort of cheered me up a bit. I was a little bit, I felt a bit better about myself, and I just sort of said, look, all right, yeah, I'll come and do this one, spin a few tunes and stuff. And then it got to that night, and again, I just got let down again, by this person. But this one was more just like a party gathering itself. It wasn't a set birthday, so I wasn't as disappointed, but I was still disappointed. And I think both the disappointments really got to me. So after that, I just slowly started losing interest in the DJing. I felt like people was laughing at me. I had people like bullying me, because I was just jumping around and enjoying the music. I had people laughing and taking the Michael, and in the end, I kept losing the interest. And this was like mid to late 2014. I literally just gave up the music in, I think it was in September of 2014. I started college, and just by then I'd gone out of the music completely. I was still enjoying listening to music, but I wasn't really DJing anymore, and it just got to the point where one by one I sold the equipment, got rid of the decks, got rid of the speakers, got rid of the smoke machine. I had a little studio set up in my shed, and it all just went. And I just used the shed for storing my motorbikes, etc. And then 2015 came along, which is when MC Noble was born. So yeah, so all this before MC Noble was even a thing. I was this DJ, and the sad thing is now looking back, my DJ name was just so cringy, because originally I was called DJ Madhead, and I just can't believe that I had such a daft name. And then I had people saying, like, on a truthful note, why don't you have a change of your DJ name? So I actually changed my name to DJ Raver. And now, even looking back, it was just stupid. So, cutting the story short, I decided that I'd gone to DJ Raver. But anyway, so 2015, I come back as MC Noble. And MC Noble was just something that started out as a bit of fun. The DJing, my aim was to take it seriously, and then the bullying put me off of it. The MCing, however, was just meant to be a little bit of a laugh. I put a few raps up on Facebook for a joke, spat a few bars about banging ladies, and a few other different things. And I remember at the time my dad was like, about me being rude in some of my bars, and he wasn't really a fan of it. And for whatever reason, the MCing side of things just took off, and I got more into it, and I started putting more raps up. And as I put more raps up, I put more sort of effort into it, and I got better with the flow, I got better with the bars. And then it got to the point where I created this sort of person, and I was MC Noble. And the next thing, I had t-shirts with my logos on. And the next thing, I'm like going round to someone's house, and he's got like studio recording equipment. And then I'm like doing a gig at my local rugby club and getting paid for it. And then the next thing I know, I'm like getting all these views on Facebook pages. I'm applying for Britain's Got Talent. And then I'm like starting to get bookings at raves to be an MC, and I'm starting to like really get back into my like hard dance and the hardcore music. When I originally DJ'd, I sort of went with what all the school kids were into back then. It was all the like Martin Garrix, EDM and stuff. Whereas like my deep passion was like classic house and hardcore and bounce, and it always has been. So I started MCing at the hardcore raves and stuff like that. And then it was the MCing that got me back into the DJing. And now it's just crazy. Now I'm just absolutely like time's just so crazy. I mean, I haven't gone like into detail about everything about the story, but you get the point. It was the MCing that got me back into the DJing, and it was the DJing that got me into the production, and now I do everything. So now I get booked to DJ, I get booked to MC, and in my spare time at home, I do production. And do you know what? It's absolutely great. And I just want to say that for anybody because my biggest regret was probably giving up the music. When I was getting the bullying, because believe you and me, as an MC, I've had way worse bullying than I had when I was DJing. But because I was older when I started MCing, and because I knew that this time I wasn't going to let bullies beat me and defeat me down, I sort of carried on and had this like really sort of like good sort of like motivation to keep going. But it's just absolutely crazy that I've stuck through it, and I'm like here on the other side, and now I'm announcing all these bookings and doing all these other things. And that is really the moral of the story. So to anybody who is getting into music or doing anything with music, don't let the haters make you give up like they did with me. Your passion's your passion, and I feel, although I've done really well with the MCing, I do feel that I was meant to be a DJ, and I feel like I let the bullying let that stop me, and I think personally, if I had have kept up with the DJing as opposed to the MCing, I would have been a lot further than I am now. But in some sense, like, I don't regret doing the MCing, because the MCing's a blast, and I love jumping on the mic, and that's now a passion as well. So as much as as much as I regret giving up the music, I don't regret starting the MCing. So sometimes they say like things happen for a reason. So maybe in some sense, giving up the DJing was a good thing, because it meant that I started up this MCing, which got me back to the DJing, but on a better level, and doing the music that I actually enjoy mixing. So anyway, that's really going to do it. Just felt like chatting and rambling. Like, subscribe, comment if you do want to hear more about my upcoming gigs and stuff like that. And we'll see you next